Hello, welcome to Laura's Painted Minis. I am Laura, and if you didn't see the title, we are working on these demon wings today. So we're gonna get these finished up, or painted up rather, and if we have time, we'll do the other side. Then after that, I'll just need to work on my plans for this skull wand that he has. And then I can paint glue the wings onto the mini. I am planning to do kind of more of a beige color basically for these I don't know, webbings or whatever. I can't remember what they are called technically. So just mixing up my colors. Got Desert Stone, Treasure Map, and this is, I believe, yeah, Cairn Stone. And then I think I might use some blackened brown for a darker, in case I need a darker shadow color. That'll be what that is. I'm gonna go ahead and I have a feeling I'll need it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the palette. So I finally got, excuse me, I finally got my Bones 6 from Reaper last week. Already trying to think of ways to use them. I mean, they're gonna be fun to paint up either way. Whether I have a use for them or not. But the things that I have a use for are going to be the things that are more likely to get painted up. Than if I don't have a use for them. Which I mean, like the Denizens of the Dungeon box expansion, like, is perfect for just some classic dungeon crawls. Just from the few what I was able to kind of look at. I did an unboxing video, if you didn't notice, on my YouTube. It's a little long because I mean it's a lot of minis, and I didn't think through and pre-open the boxes beforehand, so I had to open the boxes and bags while I was doing that, and I mean, even if I hadn't had to do that, it still would have taken a really long time to try and go through every single mini, which I didn't. I tried to kind of pull out like a few different minis and stuff from each box, and then obviously several from the core. Several from the core box, core set. There we go. And I especially tried to pull out ones that were like the really big, cool ones that I feel like everyone was excited to see. As well as some ones that I was especially excited to see in person. It does seem like there's more and more posts of people getting their email or their box arriving, so sounds like things are picking up. I do have an idea for the 30th anniversary dragon, aka Kyle. Because I have a a novel that I've been working. It's a fantasy novel I've been working off and on over the years, and I have a villain in there, the big bad guy. He rides a big black dragon, and the mini for the dragon rider that came with Kyle um, kind of was a lot like what I was envisioning that character to look like. But this would definitely be like a campaign idea. So it makes it perfect for him to use that like giant dragon. And I would have to figure out some things like how um, one learns how to uh, ride dragons, specifically like mechanic wise. So I'm not sure that that's something in D&D. Kind of feel like usually dragons are their own being or villain. Um, so that part I would have to kind of think through a bit more, but I know pretty well like the goals, some of the core goals of the call him a dark sorcerer type knight. Guess like if he's both a knight and he knows magic, that would be kind of like a paladin or uh, the what is it, Eldridge Knight in the fighter class. that would, yeah, that would be more of a campaign idea. I'm not sure if I want to wait until I've got that painted, like the dragon and the knight dude, evil guy, so that I can just kind of focus on whatever I need for each session, or just get it going, get people invited, and figure out who's going to join, or if I have anyone to play. I do have a possible pool of players just from my current group that I am player in, because we are going to just quickly wrap up our playthrough of Curse of Strahd. I think basically we're just going to fast forward to us confronting Strahd. And I've got one person who's very what is the word that I want? Committed in a way to Drawsteel. He's in their Patreon and he's been doing playtests. He's using the rules to run like actual campaigns, at least, you know, the rules as they currently are, and then updating as the rules are updating. And not really interested in any other systems. Which is fine. I mean, you know, it if D&D is not your favorite system and you have other options, then you should pursue that. There's good things about each tabletop role-playing system out there. I haven't played a huge ton. I've mainly just played D&D, but I've also been part of playtests for both Drawsteel and Daggerheart. I am interested in the Sentinel Comics RPG. I'm trying that out. So, I mean, like, I love Marvel and superheroes, so I would love to run a one-shot or a campaign or whatever centered around superheroes and villains. But I think I read that there is like a Star Trek. I don't know if these are just basically adaptations to D&D or their actual own systems. Because I don't have my hands on any rule books. So if any of you know about those already and whether the answers to those questions, feel free to share your knowledge of those role playing systems in chat. Well, waiting on that to dry for a little bit, but I show off. So over the weekend I did some work, water effects work on the Dungeons and Lasers Elven Woods set. And then this morning I went in with some Moonstone Blue. Just did some little highlights. So you can kind of see them where they stay the same. Then there's also some natural sheen from the water effects. So yeah, here's how it looks from a distance. I like how it turned out. I also got started this morning on getting the grass started, really. It's a base coat. I did some moss as well. Gonna do some moss, I decided, in some of these parts, some of those rocks. Feel like it makes sense since there's a little creek on these pieces. This one was kind of the testing out of the specific colors, because I thought the very first one that I completely finished, like quite a while back now, I thought it was ended up looking too muted, and I originally was just trying to see if I could make it work to make it look like moss growing, which I had a feeling that probably wasn't going to work since it's very much sculpted like plant life. So I definitely like this better. And I think I will take the highlights up even more than what I have on here. I didn't get to the rest of it, but so this is the area where all the colors were tested for the grass, which that is these three. So that was a lot of the things I worked on over the weekend. Let's see, I think this is dry enough now. So I'm going to move forward with the other two colors I have mixed up for the wings, the lighter colors, and get the wings all painted up and highlighted, and then we'll come back and probably, if I feel like we need some darker shadows, I'll add some in. Just get a bit closer there. And I am going to do sort of a swooping movement. Down here I might try and go with these pre-sculpted folds. And I'm not going to worry too much about blending. Give some texture to the wings. I'm just going to come back a second time. Bring back a little bit of that initial color. create a little bit of contrast here. Like I said, I want to show the paint strokes. Something I really enjoy doing. Oops. Okay. We'll let that dry. So I'll move on and start doing the same stuff here. So I don't want to be getting into the realm of wet blending too much, especially with when I go to do the highest highlight, or at least what I currently have as the highest. Only got 3 colors, so it is entirely possible I'll end up needing to mix another color just for some touches of higher highlights, pops, highlights. I didn't make a ton of progress over the weekend on my write-up of thoughts on how to teach a workshop on how to build and run a one-shot, basically. I mean, it could be applied just to how to run just in a session in general, and can be applied to campaigns too. Because I mean, a campaign is just a bunch of sessions that have like a linked or overarching story going on. I mean, it could also be a campaign where it's just whatever the player's goals. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially because of live streaming, that with Critical Role and Penny Arcade, Acquisitions Inc., and High Rollers, various others, that there's sort of an expectation of an overarching story, like a book would have or a movie would have. But my understanding is that is not how D&D has always been. There used to be a lot more of a expectation of dungeon, kind of your typical dungeon crawls. That is not looking as light in comparison to the previous color. Let's see, I turn on this extra light. Nope, that doesn't really change anything. I don't want to end up going too much lighter though in the wings. I really want to keep it beige. So I mean, I like how this looks. So if that's the case, and then I probably really do need to have that darker shadow then to bring in the contrast. This is quite a bit darker than that base color though, so we'll see how this works. May have to do some wet blending, or just glaze everything. And this is right back to that highest color. I'm just specifically going to trying to do it right above where I did these new dark shadows. So I like where that's going. I think I am going to do a glaze. don't want the paint strokes quite that pronounced. So I'm going to take the middle, that mid-tone color, which is Treasure Map. This is the mid-tone to begin with. Yeah, just make a really light glaze, and we'll see how it goes. Try not to get the red that I've already done, but I do know that I probably will touch up the highlights on that anyway when I go and after I glue the wings on. Okay. Looks pretty good. Gives it some texture, kind of that kind of it's like, I don't know, the wing webbing texture that I feel like we've come to expect in a lot of art and miniature painting, thus as an extension. So on the rest of these, I'll go ahead and bring in that darker shadow right away, so I don't have to necessarily redo as much. think for the other side, I'll definitely base coat in this darker shadow because they'll be in shadow pretty much because the wings are kind of leaning at an angle more over him. So the underside of these wings really are going to be mostly in shadow. Got a cat trying to escape. For some reason, I skipped right to that next wing instead of doing this one. The other little webbing here. I'm gonna go ahead and just try and finish up this last one. Really is not something that, since I'm not trying to blend, create awesome blends or anything, it's not something that takes too long to do, which is kind of, I mean, that is kind of another reason that it is nice and a lot more fun sometimes to just do some things that are going to have texture on them like this. And just be able to have a little bit of wiggle room or whatever you want to call it, instead of having to make everything like really great blends. And I will come back for sure on these and do like some lining just around the edges, so that I know I've got a little bit of messiness going on here. And I am definitely not a clean painter. I very much have a time at the end of the figure where I go back and I do touch-ups. Not for lack of trying to make things clean, but it's just, even when I do try, I blurf. Especially if I'm doing stuff on stream and I'm slightly less focused. Or if I'm doing things for the time-lapse videos I can get that I've started doing recently, to make some shorts for my YouTube, as well as for like, can use it on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, I can sometimes get too caught up in my head that I'm trying to get it done somewhat quickly, so that when the time lapse is done, or when I'm done, the time lapse itself isn't like speeding up the painting so fast that you can't really see what's being done. I used my phone's time lapse feature because Instagram is, you only have like set time limits, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me to do like in real time. I know it's gonna take me longer than 30 seconds. Waiting for this to dry. There's still a little bit of the highlight drying. Might just go ahead and start lining some of these other areas. They're mostly done. And I may still come back into with this darker shadow color again, with just thin it down more. And just purposely kind of accentuate some of these areas. We'll see. It's one of those things. So like contrast is definitely something I've had to really work on. And blending too. I already mentioned that though. And so I've found that for me what I really need to do is just like, okay, I think it looks good right now. And stop and come back to it, take some pictures later and just see like you know, how it looks on the camera and what I think of it later too, under some maybe different lighting, different time of day or whatever, or less sleep in the morning when I'm groggy, whatever, and see if I still think it looks good or if you know, especially with the camera, that kind of can tell me if it's not picking up what I can see. And then even though I can see it in person, that's telling me that maybe I need to provide or create some more contrast so that the camera can pick it up. So I'm saying that I might have to do that because I'm already seeing, just looking at my monitor here, that over here these are becoming really faint. Not very, there's not as much contrast. And a lot of that is just because I glazed over it, and so that shadow was taken down quite a bit, and the highlights were not very much brighter than what the glazing color was. So yeah, I probably will need to play around a bit more with the darkest shadows and highest highlights on here a little bit, just to make sure I'm providing enough contrast. I don't want to end up spending too much time on these though too, because I really want to get to that wand actually, because I have a really fun idea where I can try out some adding to the mixture to the miniature to make it try and sculpt some flames coming out of the top of the skull wand to really kind of give that feel that it's a fire demon, because this kind of wasn't printed at quite the right scale, and so he's not as big. He's supposed to be a size bigger to be Orcus, because that's who it was. That's the character or the specific demon it was sculpted or based on for the sculpt. So yeah. So anyway, we got some wings, the wing webbings rather, painted up, looking pretty good. Pretty good start on them. So may need some tweaking, but considering there wasn't a ton actually sculpted onto that'll give you a feel. There's not much actually sculpted into as far as the actual texture. That's a lot of it's freehand. This would technically be freehand. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I'll be back on Thursday, at least that's the current plan. Assuming allergies are not going to knock me out. They have been starting to bring me down. So I'm ready for some colder weather so that the pollen goes away and I can breathe again. Thursday, I will probably be back to working on the terrain. I don't know if it'll be specifically these, but all that's left now is the grass. So I'll be the greenery, basically, since I am also doing some moss textures too. So that is what we'll be doing Thursday, is some greenery stuff on these cool looking scatter terrain from the it is Dungeons and Lasers Elven Woods set. So yes. So come back Thursday. Again, I changed it to 1:15 p.m. same time as Monday. Hopefully that's not too confusing of a change since it is at least the same time as my Monday streams. And yeah, check me out on Instagram and my other socials. I'll get those put up in chat here. I still have not changed, haven't gotten to changing the links in there. Or wait, no, I did change it. Never mind. I did change it and updated it. So yes, those are all the links. As I mentioned last week, I decided to just do away with Fiverr because I prefer that if I'm doing commissions, that it's people who want something from me, because they like my work, not not like, last minute they don't know who any other mini painters, they don't actually know me, they just need someone to paint something for them. Not as excited. Wasn't getting excited about what I was getting through Fiverr. So yeah, I do take commissions. So if you do like my style of painting, hit me up on any of those socials, whichever works for you, whatever you're on. If I am on that as well, that's a good place to get started, and we can go from there. Talk about what exactly you're wanting done, and the time frame, etc. Paint job level, whatnot, all that jazz. So with that, I will see you on Thursday. Bye.